The iPhone 5C, colourful, cheerful, cheap, crap? I agree with the last one the most. In this video, I'll be explaining why the iPhone 5C was the worst iPhone ever made. Before you all get your pitchforks out, I actually made a video way back in the day in 2013. I mentioned some of the same points back in the day and I'll receive comments such as this.
I don't normally dislike a video, but this video sure made me do that, as I watched this on an iPhone 5C... Steve Jobs once said, "We don't ship junk." Not sure what he'd make of this decision, but I certainly know I'm starting to miss him. I see what you mean about the 5 being cheaper. I never thought of that. In the US, it only costs $100.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works, mate.
I have a yellow 5C and I like it. Steve Jobs would have been pissed if he sold the iPhone 5C.
That's very true. Well, how did the 5C hold up? This could have been your first iPhone ever, or your first smartphone ever, but it doesn't take away how bad the iPhone 5C actually was. Where people saw the iPhone 5C as a budget way of getting a brand new iPhone, the price difference wasn't big at all. I'm talking only $100 difference from the flagship model, the iPhone 5S, to the iPhone 5C. $100 less, and you're getting last year's specs. What was that about? The iPhone 5S had a massive spec bump, better body, better camera, better all around. This included the quality aluminium body, which we're used to from the iPhone 4 onwards, everything for $100 more. Why would people go for the iPhone 5C? It was $550 for the iPhone 5C, which was a lot for a smartphone back in the day, especially with last year's specs. Not forgetting switching the nice aluminum body for a plastic back. The old spec meant the iPhone 5C was rocking last year's Apple A6 chip with only 1 GB of RAM. Even the battery was below par. Don't get me wrong, the plastic on the back of the iPhone 5C was nice in comparison to some of the Android devices released at the similar time, but it's a step away from Apple's high quality aluminium unibodies that we're used to with all Apple products. Back in my old video, the main point of that video was to get people to save money. You would have saved yourself a lot of money just going on eBay and buying the previous year's iPhone 5 with a nice aluminum body and a big discount. But I guess people didn't want to hear this. Another really strange thing Apple did this year was release that iPhone 5C Connect 4 style case. What was that about, Apple? Who designed that? Who came up with this? I think it's such an odd looking case where you're trying to save weight on the phone by removing half of the material, making it aerodynamic. Well, it might have been weight saving because the iPhone 5C actually was thicker and heavier than the iPhone 5 from the previous year because of this lovely plastic back. I'm not sure what went on here, who designed this case, but I'm glad they don't create cases like this anymore. Well done, Tim Apple.
We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple.
Let me know in the comments if you had one of these cases. Did you rock it? Did you like it? Why did you get it? You might be wondering how the iPhone 5C holds up today. Well, I've got you covered. The iPhone 5C has a nostalgic feel to it. With this tiny 4-inch screen, it is tiny in comparison to the iPhone 16 Pro of today with its phablet style size. Now just look at the phone side by side. It is mental, the size difference. The iPhone 5C feels like a toy I would give my daughter to play with, not a phone I would use on a daily basis, especially watching YouTube videos. There is no Touch ID on the iPhone 5C, which means security is a bit lacking and you got to type in your passcode every time you want to unlock your iPhone 5C. Not a deal breaker, but this was the last phone without any sort of Touch ID or Face ID. Surprisingly, the screen has held up the best out of all the parts and specs on this phone. The screen is vibrant, it's bright, and with the Retina quality display, it's still crisp and looks good in 2025. The rest of the iPhone, not so good. Apple stopped supporting the iPhone 5C's latest updates in 2015, with the latest iOS being iOS 10.33. which really gives this phone a nostalgic feel when using the operating system. But this also means no apps will update or support 10.33. So they're slim pickings with the apps that still supports this older software. 99% of the apps I downloaded would not run on the iPhone 5 just because of this outdated software. and the software not allowing the new versions of the apps to download. This is a bit of a shame if you do want to use an older iPhone just as a second phone, out and about, or as a backup phone. The third-party apps that I've found worked on the phone run really slow. Because of that 1 GB of RAM, apps are now created to run on the newer iPhones with a lot better chips internally and better specs. I'm playing Minecraft here. I'm surprised it even supported on this phone, but it's very slow and laggy, so I wouldn't recommend playing any sort of games on this unless it's a real basic game. Even YouTube won't work on this phone, giving you an error message on screen and telling you to update. But I can't update Apple. What do you want me to do? At least TikTok works on this iPhone 5C, kind of. Apps like Instagram also works, but it's slow and the audio wouldn't work for some reason on the Reels. So again, you can't really use this phone in 2025. The camera quality of this phone actually shocked me how bad it was. If you look in comparison from my iPhone 5C to my iPhone 16 Pro Max, there's night and day difference. Obviously, it's about, 12 years difference, where you expect technology to be a lot better. But if you were looking to pick up an iPhone 5C, use this camera for its retro look and feel, I would kind of avoid it and I wouldn't recommend it. This is 1080p footage from the rear camera on the iPhone 5C. What are your thoughts? I'm going to let you guys decide this one in the comments down below. The front-facing camera is only 1.2 megapixel, recording at 720p. This is what the iPhone 5C's front-facing camera looks like when recording. What do you guys think? HD ready? Why did they call it HD ready? I never got that. I mean, it's not HD, so why are you calling it HD ready? Anyways, it makes me look like a potato using this camera, so again, I would avoid this. Compared to the iPhone 16 Pro front-facing camera, I mean, it's not really fair, is it? Let's keep the iPhone 5C in the past. There was a lightning port on the bottom, which was good for the time. And on the left-hand side, there's actually a 3.5mm headphone jack, which was super duper handy back in the day. The speaker next to the lightning port was absolutely terrible. It sounds like something that's included in a kid's toy, and it's really muffly, it's horrible, it's tinny, just don't like it. Here's a sample of it. 249 grams, which makes it lightweight and easy to carry. Apple could have done a much better job here. Did they just pick up the cheapest speaker in the market at the time and put it into the iPhone? Quite possibly. The iPhone 5C does have a nostalgic charm to it. It is part of the Apple's history, and I can see why people might want to pick up one just to have, you know, on their shelves displaying it. I actually ordered a blue one and it came in white, so eBay seller, well done. Looking back through the launch event and the timing this phone was released, I kind of understand why people went for this phone, just because it was something new. It was the first ever C phone and the last, I'll get onto that in a minute. But it was nice and colourful, it was a new device and people thought, wow, I want to have this. And it reminds me of the iPod lineup with all the different colours back in the day. But honestly, it wasn't a good iPhone and Apple has never released a C iPhone ever again. What are your thoughts on the iPhone 5C? I'd love to hear your stories. Did you have one back in the day? Did your friend have one? Let me know in the comments down below. Please subscribe to the channel and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Please take everything I say with a pinch of salt. This is just my opinion on the iPhone 5C. It's actually grown on me a bit more since I've been using the phone, but I'm glad I didn't buy one back in the day. If you enjoyed this video, then check out this video right here.